Hello and welcome to Striding Edge Games and the latest episode of our podcast Army Overview thing, where we talk about different army lists in the game. This episode, we are going into Moria and chasing out some nasty little interlopers who have come in and disturbed our slumber.
A Balrog, a demon of the ancient world. This foe is beyond any. Run!
So, this episode, we're going over probably one of the more popular mainstream. I don't really know how to describe it until recently.
One of the meta picks, maybe, is probably...
until recently we'd kind of just done what we thought was just narratively good matchups or thematically good matchups, probably better. This episode we're doing Depths of Moria, former narrative darling, as you say, meta darling rather, as you say. Very popular at tournaments, very thematic and narrative as well, actually. I guess with that, Jules, take us, if people don't necessarily know the different Moria lists, what is the Depths of Moria?
Yeah, I mean, in the old rules, Depths of Moria was a legendary legion, which was focused sort of entirely around, you had the Balrog and goblins. And this is the same thing. It is basically, you get a series of buffs, which are entirely related to the Balrog, and you used to have a very good buff that was just general, but now it's been nerfed probably too hard.
I guess just going up front, basically, this is post February FAQ, obviously. 2026, if you want to date it. So this was previously first year and a bit of the game being released. Very popular because of a special rule that we'll get onto, especially in the competitive scene. And now, I don't know. It's less popular, but I would imagine less popular, and what we think we can go on to later.
Yeah, it's still a list that often will have the Balrog in it, so
yeah,
it's still good.
And as you say, it's the old Legendary Legion. I guess it's now the only list you can take, because before Moria was one of those kind of toolbox lists. You could take loads of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a huge list in the old edition. And then the Legendary Legion was basically like, if you want to do the Balrog and goblins, this gives you more rules. And then it was like kind of like Riders of Fade, and you're like, well, if I'm taking the Balrog, I'll just take this Legendary Legion. Now I think it's the only list.
It's the only list in which you can take the Balrog, yeah.
Right.
And
okay.
You can no longer take like a dragon and a Balrog that you used to be able to do.
I'm not too sad about that, but yeah, fair enough. Well, let's go straight on to what are the pros and cons of this list? Give us a breakdown.
Yeah, so we've got our little presentation for the Depths of Moria.
For those of you watching along, for those of you listening, just imagine beautiful, the highest quality PowerPoint presentation in the world.
Yeah, it's really good. And I didn't, quickly try and find images off the internet.
Part of the charm.
So, pros for the list. Number one, and that's why this image is here, is the Balrog. He is the big pro in the list. He's really very good. He's got a whole host of rules. He has a whole host of army rules that are based on the Balrog.
Yep.
And he's just an extremely nasty, extremely strong, pretty terrifying monster.
Yeah, in literal and metaphorical sense.
Yeah, I mean, he's up there. I mean, if you include Smaug, he's second or third best unit in the game.
Yeah, I'd say easily. Yep.
And you can reasonably take him in a list.
Well, I think quite uniquely, you can reasonably take him in a 500-point list, and it's still quite good and competitive. Not necessarily competitive, but like playable. Whereas you can take Sauron in a 500-point list, but I think it's fairly universally acknowledged that it's quite
pretty tricksy. Yeah, you
pretty
don't get
bad.
much.
Certain matchups you might do very well, but like,
yeah, I mean, in fact, we can get to the list building, but I mean, you can take the Balrog and you can still have a generic captain, and you can still have a reasonable number of goblins at
Yep.
500 points,
Yep.
which is quite unique, I'd say. In general, also, I mean, so the Balrog, he's a nasty monster. You can also actually take the Watcher in the Water in this list, which I do find deeply puzzling because the Watcher in the Water is outside of Moria, but whatever.
I guess it's the depths of Moria, and he's from the depths.
Maybe.
So sure, but yeah, he's on the surface. He's in the surface of Moria, in the movie and in the books. But
Yeah. Anyway, he needed to be in the list somewhere.
yeah,
Um,
fair.
my third pro of this list is goblins. Spoiler, they're also a con, but as a pro, goblins, they're very cheap, but because of the way the game mechanics work, being fight 2, yeah, it's not great, but you can still win. I mean, your
hmm
opponent might roll a 4 and you roll a 6 and you've won.
I will do
Um,
a small advert here for ourselves. Go and watch the most recent, at time of recording, match play battle report of Moria versus Lothlorien. 800-point game, no Balrog. The goblins did incredibly well against the
oh, it was
elves. And
astounding,
they
wasn't
didn't
it?
actually even outnumber them by that much, but they kind of locally outnumbered them. So there were a lot of 2-on-1s. And fight 5, defense 5 elves were losing to fight 2 goblins because 2 dice versus 1 dice.
Yeah.
I'm not a maths person, but I think that's more of a chance to win.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we can get onto their weaknesses, but in pros, I mean, the point is that you're paying 5 points for a body.
Yeah, fair.
And when they die, you don't really care that much. And when they do well, you're like, well, hey, that's great.
Yeah,
Good work, little buddy.
yeah,
Um, and then there's sort of a final kind of to sum up a lot of the pros. I think it's a list that has very simple kind of rules. It's not as simple as it used to be because of the nerf, but
yeah,
the Balrog. I mean, normally when you have like a really terrifying key piece, you have to think really carefully, and I think you still do have to think quite carefully. But the Balrog is probably the most forgiving of any of these sort of super
that's a good
super
way to
army
put it.
heroes.
Yeah,
Um,
forgiving is a good way to put it because we'll get onto it. But like, if you mess up and you know position him badly, or he's not quite where he needs to be, you're like, I'm still fight 10,
Yeah,
defense
he's
9, or whatever.
unlikely to get into, like, really, really bad trouble unless your opponent's also got a good answer, and I think that's also a key thing about the list is a lot of lists just will not have an answer to the Balrog.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that means that, you just kind of have to plow him in and just let him do his work.
yep. Definitely a pro as well. When you go to an event, that sort of fifth, sixth game on day 2, if your army rules are quite simple, it means your poor tired brain is not having to work as hard.
Yeah. But yeah, so we can move on to the cons.
Yep. Ah, there they are.
Yeah, here I've selected the primary con of the Depths of Moria list, which are your goblins.
Yeah, fair.
Um, they're not the worst warriors in the game, which are Hobbit Militia,
Yep.
I think,
Okay.
or possibly. No, I think Hobbit Militia, they are worse than Ruffians, but
They are, because ruffians are at least fight 2, aren't they?
yeah, but the goblins, yeah, they're not as good as orcs, and for many, I think like orcs or Rohan are kind of like they're the baseline of the game. So these guys are subpar.
Yeah.
Um,
You would have to argue. I mean, I think Orcs and Rohan, the fight 3, strength 3, defense 4, 5 being the baseline, people will get into an argument about whether that's baseline or below slightly now. I don't know. There might be stats to back it up, but I don't think it's. I think it's pretty unequivocal that these guys are subpar.
yeah,
Um, I will say a small bonus is they are pretty quick to paint from a hobby and collecting point of view because there's
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
metal. There's a
That's
tiny bit of skin and a tiny bit of cloth.
yeah, unless you choose to paint the eyes.
Yes, but what kind of psycho would do that?
I don't know, some lunatic. But yeah, and then I mean, I actually think it's a list that's come off very well from the new edition. It because of a nerf, it's not as strong as it was, but it was ludicrously strong before.
Yeah, fair.
And now I think yeah, probably it might be a little too nerfed, but maybe not. Who knows? And then the final thing is actually, although it's quite a truncated list, once you add the armies and you add some of the legacies units, there's quite a lot of choices. But because you're spending probably 350 points on the Balrog, you might struggle to take kind of all the things that you maybe want to take.
Yeah, I think especially at like a 600 point event, you take the Balrog, and then actually there's not that many goblins. And actually, the thing I find with list building this sort of thing is you run out of warband space. So then you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I have to take a captain, but that only gives you 12 more warriors. And then you're like, oh, I have to take another captain. It's not a bad thing to take captains, but you really want to be fleshing out your army with as many bodies as possible. So yeah, I would agree. Well, that's a fairly simple rundown. Special rules. This is where the army, I think we're going to spend a while, probably. Uh, quick note: this is a new one of those newly released Weta shots of like a scene we didn't see?
No, I think this is I found it is a scan from the magazine. I don't know whether it's
Ah,
from White Dwarf, but there was always, it's never been released, but there were scenes of the goblins chasing the Fellowship down to Lothlorien,
I've
and
definitely
I
seen
remember,
very brief glimpses of like them being amongst the elven trees and getting like shot with arrows.
yeah, and I think it's in the Fellowship rule book. I don't know if it's this image, but there's definitely an image in the Fellowship of the Ring, the original rule book, of goblins outside of Moria.
Interesting.
So I thought I'd just take this image for anyone that is listening.
Sorry,
It's some Moria goblins wandering around outside of Moria.
standing
Um,
around outside.
so a little bit of history there, I guess. Um, but yeah,
Right,
special rules. Um,
take us in.
there are four special rules. Four special rules. Um, three of them are related to the Balrog, and one of them is effectively for your goblins.
Yep.
Um, and they're all kind of, nice and thematic. So what was the primary special rule was drums in the deep. Um, previously, so in your rule books, it will say that this is a continuous, all the time, sort of table wide -1 courage debuff for your opponent and +1 for your goblins, which already pretty decent.
Hmm.
But also it was a banner reroll for all Moria goblins.
Yeah. A board wide banner is pretty crazy. Like when we think Imrahil got nerfed because he was a 12-inch banner and is now only a 6-inch banner, the three trolls have access to an 18-inch banner,
Yeah.
which is, yeah, they kind of need, to be honest, to stay in, and they have to pay 50 points for it. But a board wide banner, I'm not sure exists anywhere else in the game.
No, and I mean, this bonus was so good that there were people taking lists where they just didn't have a Balrog. They just had
Yeah.
goblins.
It's a really good
Um,
point that you don't have to take the Balrog in the army construction rules. So
no.
you could run this, I think, a 400 point event. You could run a very strong list where you take no monsters and you just take goblins, maybe a couple of the fancy units we see later, maybe a cave troll, but that's it. And then you had this army rule on top of it that you were just re-rolling all your dice forever. Very, very powerful. So now it's changed.
Yeah, it has been nerfed, and I think kind of the specifics of how it's been nerfed is kind of the problem. So
Mm,
it's now a once per game ability with the exact same effect,
yeah.
which is good still, but you have to call it at the start of the move phase,
Yeah.
which is very painful.
Yeah.
Um,
I will say, as an equivalence, having just played a bunch of Rise of Aemir, and after reading the rules after my sort of fifth game or something, not at the event, luckily, in practice games, their Look to the Sun, -1 to the dual roll, blah, 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 is at the start of the activation phase. So there are a
your
few
activation
of
phase.
of the players, friendly players activation phase, which is really key. I think one of the things that's made this really negative is possibly, I think, a nerf too far, as you say. That one, the Look to the Sun, it's all about, you want to get the combats you want. This one is the same. You want to be in combat. Start the activation. The way we read it is activation phases after heroic moves have occurred because they allow you to act outside of
Mm.
activation phase. So by activation phase, you should know whose priority is, and you should know where the heroic moves have gone, if any. And if it's your priority, you'll be moving, or if you don't, you can. If it's not your priority, you can move.
Yeah. Either way,
Respectively.
you should know who you're charging
You
with
should
the
know who
right
you're charging,
commander.
and you should know whether or not you're splitting up the fights, which is also key. This one is really punishing because now it's before any of that. Start of the movement phase before heroic moves. So in my head, again, I've not used this list yet as a caveat, but we have both played a lot of Moria, last edition and this edition. You might call it and go like, oh, our two battle lines have either engaged or about to engage. And if I win priority or the heroic move off and you've already called this, my temptation is you only move 5 inches unless I move slower than you, unless I'm dwarfs or
Yeah.
hobbits. I could just run away from you for a turn and there's nothing you can do to get in combat with me other than the Balrog who can move faster, blah, blah,
But the
blah.
Balrog doesn't
Doesn't
benefit from the
doesn't
rule.
benefit. Yeah,
So
yeah. So it's just, I think it's gone a bit. I mean, there'll be plenty of situations where you can't disengage because you're wrapped
yeah.
around all the terrain or blah blah blah. But yeah, I think that's a bit of a shame. I think it should be my personal house rule would be to change it to the same start of the activation, the goblin friendly activation phase. You call the drums in the deep, but hey, I think it's still an incredibly powerful ability. And as we see later, you can still buy a drum for a lot of points, but it gives you this same benefit.
Yeah.
So, hey,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's basically summing up that special rule.
mm,
I mean, I think there's other things. I mean, maybe they could have tied the banner effect to the Balrog, but still had the drums for the courage debuff.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but yeah. So I mean, the next three special rules are all Balrog related. The first one is the Dominion of the Balrog, which gives goblins within 6 inches of the Balrog +1 fight value. And also
sure.
does the shenanigans with basically if the Balrog has 6 or more wounds, you're just never broken. If you
Hmm.
have 5 or less wounds, you can be broken, but you still need to have the models killed.
Yep.
And if the Balrog dies, you are just broken automatically.
So, in the very unlikely scenario that the first turn you engage combat, you
The
kill the
Balrog gets
Balrog,
flash killed.
flash killed by something.
Yeah.
Uh, it you just break the enemy army, even if that's the only model you killed.
Yeah, it's great. And he's the general as well. So I
Yeah,
mean,
that'd be incredible. I would love to know if anyone's ever done that, killed a Balrog in one turn of combat. I can't think of many occasions when it would happen, but maybe.
you need multiple heroes,
Like
really.
somehow get the King of the Dead, Anduril, Aragorn, and someone who's also strength 10 in the combat all at the
With
same
Mighty
time.
Blow, Grimbold.
Maybe who the King of the Dead and Aragorn and maybe Gimli, like maybe the Grey, not the Grey Company, the Return of the King list. If Aragorn, the King of the Dead, and Gimli, who is behind on um
Oh, Legolas kills.
Legolas kills, he'd get +1, switch to two-hand, +2 heroic strength. So then he'd be strength 8 +2 to wound. Aragorn would be winning on 3 ups. The King of the Dead would be winning on, I don't know what's whatever the courage of the Balrog is, very good. So the King of the Dead would probably be winning him but it's possible. Who knows? Please comment if you have seen it or done it. And then the fight value, sure, you raise the goblins.
Yeah, the
But that's not,
courage of a Balrog's 3 up. So the King of the Dead is
yeah,
maybe not viable.
yeah,
But
maybe
yes,
not.
the fight value buff. I mean, goblins go from bad fight 2 to just merely mediocre fight 3.
Yeah, sure.
Which isn't really going to help you, but it does work on captains, which is nice. So
Yeah,
they
cool.
could go to fight 4.
Sure.
But yeah,
Cool.
I mean the breaking element is really good, I
It
think.
does say a question for you, and you might not know it, but it says counts as does not count as broken. So if you get to halfway, half your models killed, does that mean for a mission that ends on breaking, you still roll, you just don't take the courage checks, or it
Yeah,
doesn't apply to that?
I think you never count as broken, but there was an FAQ in the last edition on some rules for this.
Because obviously you wouldn't award the VPs for being broken. That's
Yeah,
what
I
counts
think you
as.
might.
You wouldn't take the broken checks, but for the missions, because otherwise, if two Depths of Moria lists played each other and they never managed to kill, the Balrogs never managed to take each other down,
Take each other out.
you could have two Balrogs on 6 wounds left for forever somehow.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember whether the match play says when one army reaches breakpoint or is broken.
Don't know. Comment below. Let us know.
Comment below. Yeah, I mean,
very good.
it could
very
come
good.
up. It could come up, but yeah, it's a good ability.
It's cool.
The second special rule, for the Balrog, it's the third special rule, is Shadow. This is part of a cutesy little 2 special rule
2-in-1
phrase. But the Shadow means that the Balrog can only ever be hit by shooting on a 5-up, which is actually quite nice when he is really quite a serious target. And so that's quite good, especially against siege weapons, which won't kill him but could do 5 wounds in one shot. It doesn't do anything against magic, which is a bit of a weakness of the Balrog. Not the biggest, but a weakness.
Maybe we'll get onto that, yeah.
The second rule is and flame, so it's the Shadow and flame.
There we go.
Once per game, start of the shoot phase, you can pick a model within 3 inches, and on a 2-up, that model is immediately set ablaze. Once you do it, the Balrog no longer benefits from the Shadow special rule.
So it's the bit in the movie where he goes whoomph on the bridge.
Yeah. He goes really big and fiery. I kind of feel like they could just automatically be set ablaze. A 2-up is kind of rough. Time that you roll a 1. It's pretty niche, but I think it could be really good against someone like LSR. If he's mounted, because you just say like, hey, you're on fire and you either need to get off your horse or you're going to be taking strength 5 hit every turn.
Both as well, right? It's the model.
Yeah, it's both of them.
So they'd both be taking hits, and then chances are the horse is going to die because it's a strength 5 hit.
Yeah, I think Set Ablaze is a strength 5 hit
now. So 4s on almost every mount in the game, basically.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, other than a fell beast.
Yeah, I take it. I think
shield wall cataphract.
If my opponent had lots of shooting, I didn't really have a decent target for Set Ablaze, I think I'd just never do it. But if my opponent had no shooting, I'd just be like, yeah, start first turn, we're in range, I'll just do it for fun on a banner or something.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, collectively the Balrog rules, so if we just ignore the drums in the deep for a second, all of the Balrog rules are nice to have if you're taking the Balrog. And then the drums in the deep is still good. I mean, it obviously probably was too good before, just because Goblin warriors are just really efficient as warriors.
Yeah, we'll get onto that.
Giving them a reroll effectively kind of means that they're sort of like 2 attack models to win the dual roll.
It was wild. But I do think that it's gone slightly too far the other way. But I'm not an expert in this game. I'm a happy amateur. So so we'll see. On to heroes profiles. The first one's probably not a surprise.
Yes.
A/the Balrog brackets of Morgoth.
Yeah, I mean, in the book they call it, in the rule book it's called the Balrog, which upsets me because it is a Balrog.
Yes, but I suppose it's because it's being referred to as that's the Balrog they're talking about Durin's Bane. Because it's
and there is
Balrog.
the unique rules, special rules. So it's a named the Balrog, which means that
because it's Durin's Bane.
In like the team games from match play, you can't have more than one Balrog.
That would be silly.
In a list, and in your teams. But I think it should be called Durin's Bane.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Or campaign to change it. So I mean, we've been talking a lot about the Balrog.
Yes.
Let's talk about the specifics of the Balrog. He is a princely 350 points.
Very expensive. Again, one of the most expensive single models in the game. You've got Smaug and you've got Sauron.
Mumak is close as well, right?
Mumak base is like 250, I think. So more expensive, but can get much more expensive, especially with the upgrades and all that.
And the war leader.
And the war leader, yeah. But base, it's very expensive.
Severely expensive, but you get a pretty good stat line for that. He has an 8-inch move, which is quite a big buff from before when he used to be 6 inches.
Yeah, it's a big
Um,
change actually. I think more significant than people might think first flicking through the rulebook. And although slight problem because his entire army is moving 5 goblins.
yeah, so he'll outpace them.
But as we said earlier, maybe it's not that big a deal if the Balrog wanders off on his own. Sure, you lose some of the buffs, the aura buffs, but he's the Balrog. But yeah, carry on. Movement 8,
Yeah, he has a fight value of 10. He's I think
wild.
the only fight 10 model in the game. He
Yep,
has a shoot value of 3 up, which is fine. Yep. He's got
cool.
strength 9. He's got defense 9. So sometimes there's between him and Sauron is fight 9 but defense 10, and the Balrog
Yep.
is fight 10 and defense 9.
I always
Um,
forget which way around it is.
yeah. He has 4 attack space, which is great because you really need them.
Yes.
He has 10 wounds, which is
Yep.
pretty mad. As previously discussed, he's got a courage of 3 up. He's clearly not, I mean, he's bright, but he's not the brightest with intelligence of 5 up.
Yep.
However, though he is a hero, he has 0 might, which is really quite a big limitation on the Balrog.
Very
Um,
big deal.
he's got 10 will, which means that he's pretty hard to deal sort of something nasty magic wise to him. But he also has 0 fate, which is less of an issue when you have 10 wounds, but
And
also
defense 9.
means if you can push a wound onto this guy, you can get the general wound.
Yeah, that's very true. I think just for a second, like we talked about like other profiles that just kind of break the game, kind of like Grima and that sort of thing previously. Like he almost does, just because of the fight 10 is, as you say, unprecedented. Nothing else in the game is fight 10, even Sauron or Smaug. And 10 wounds. Like Sauron again has 5. Smaug has like 20, but like it's an incredibly niche. Like even really big trolls have 4.
Yeah.
Treebeard, who's a big NT hero, has 3 fate, so 3, 5, 4.5 technically. Huge creatures. Generally, the cap for might and wounds and attacks is like 3, maybe 4. 5 is unprecedented. 10 wounds is just crazy. But as you say, 0 might, 0 fate.
I wouldn't go so far as to say that he's a glass cannon, but there are some sort of like weaknesses to the Balrog's profile.
Yeah.
But in terms of equipment, he has a giant flaming hand weapon.
Cool.
There doesn't seem to be anything about like it can't be taken away from him because it's not very clear. I mean, in the movie and in the books, like it seems like it's kind of part of him.
Yeah, it's a manifestation, right?
Yeah, and then he also has a fiery lash. This is the thing that grabs Gandalf, pulls him off the bridge. It is a strength 7 throwing weapon, which is
Wild.
just very amusing, and has a range of 8. And if the model that you shoot with it doesn't die, they are dragged into base contact.
Yeah, so that strength 7's actually kind of a hindrance because you
You don't want to
really
kill them.
you really want to be dragging when you want to shoot with it, you really want to be dragging models into base contact to then do funky stuff with. So strength 7 is actually kind of a downer in some ways. It's great if you're just trying to peel a wound off someone, but yeah, that's where his 3 up is good. I have seen, I will say, the amount of times I've played one Balrog and I've watched a few battle reports and stuff. The amount of times where the Balrog goes in on a charge and does the throwing weapon and rolls a 1 or a 2, and you're just like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, obviously.
or is like you're just because it's, what is it, an 8-inch throwing weapon?
Mm.
He can move forward and just about get someone in range to pull forward to then heroic combat off them, which we'll get onto in a minute, and then rolls a 3 because you still get the -1 on the move. So yeah, sod's law, but very, very powerful.
Yes.
What else does he have rule wise?
Yeah, so the Balrog has a suite of special rules. He has Dominant 10, which is
You'd hope so, yeah.
nice. He is Fearless, which makes sense.
You'd hope so.
He has Harbinger of Evil at an 18-inch range, so that's a -1
Really good.
courage debuff. He's a large target, which makes sense, but isn't
Yep,
great.
because the goblins literally come up to his ankle.
Yeah, they're tiny, comparatively. He is resistant to magic, which also doubles down on the kind of the
You
magic
really
resistance.
need, yep.
And naturally, he causes terror because he is a demon of the ancient world.
Yes.
Um,
It would make sense. Would be strange if he didn't.
and then he has some special rules which are unique to him. He has Goblin Mastery, which gives him a 6-inch courage bubble for friendly goblins. So they're fearless within that.
Probably
Um,
pretty good because the courage 8 plus, right? So
yeah, it's
it's
definitely
quite good.
good. He has the Flame of Udun, which means he can never be unarmed.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. And at the end of the combat involving him, if you suffered a wound in it, you roll a d6, and on a natural 6, you're set ablaze.
Sure. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like it's just if you have the temerity to survive in combat against the Balrog, it's like there's a chance that you will then be set on fire.
That
Um,
is 100% the rule that I would forget immediately
oh
when
yeah,
playing
I
this
mean, you
list.
completely forget it.
And I'd get to like halfway through day 2 and be like, oh yeah, I've never rolled a 6 for that, or never even rolled for that.
Yeah. And it's the only bit of him that so it doesn't work on creatures immune to fire-based attacks.
Sure.
Sure. And it also does specify that the Balrog himself is immune to fire-based attacks.
Unlike Sauron and is
Smaug, I
Smaug
don't think is yeah.
is
But
immune?
so like a
Yeah.
dragon can't fire breath him.
Right. Yes, also
Um,
very key.
and then his last special rule is Demon of the Ancient World, which Boris has already kind of buried the lead on this one, but he can declare a heroic combat each turn for free. Additionally, anything that might instantly kill the Balrog, such as the Necromancer's Drained Soul, Morgul Blade, siege weapons, the King of the Dead, it inflicts 5 wounds instead.
Yeah, super good. I think this is because otherwise, like even with his stat line, it's the no might. And he's a monster, right? So he can barge and
Yes.
hurl. Yeah, okay. So you could still do some stuff, but like the ability to just, if you had priority, tag him up with one model and then be
Mm.
like, and get
Yep.
away.
Have fun.
Um, the ability to just continuously call heroic combats is great. And then even last edition, but more so this edition, the 8-inch move, the fiery lash, and then a heroic combat with another 8-inch move actually means he can close distance really fast because you could move 8, get within 8 inches, heroic, fiery lash. That's why I was saying you actually kind of want the lash to not kill someone because you can pull them in, then move another 8 inches.
Yeah,
So
so he's got like a movement of potentially 16.
yeah, in a
And
single turn.
the threat range is pretty high on this guy.
Yeah, yeah. So you could barrel 16 inches forward. Uh, so yeah, that's where he suddenly starts getting really difficult to contain or deal with.
Yeah,
So
and
he should
also
be.
what's interesting is like other heroes get access to free heroic combats, but usually need to balance it against other heroic abilities.
Yeah,
Whereas with the Balrog, you're just like, yeah, screw it, heroic combat. Like I
yeah.
don't need to strike.
I will
And
say I've been at an event once, and I couldn't decide what to do with some. I think I spent all my might on a maelstrom roll, and I was just like, if I spent it all, I don't have to worry about like, oh, is this the right heroic to do? Oh, is this the right heroic? I spent it all. It's great, and I can fire and forget.
yeah, you're
Um,
just heroic combat.
he's just running around with the Balrog. I just heroic combat all the time. So yeah, I think it makes him really. I mean, obviously he's his stat line alone, before you get to the special rules, really good. But like that, he would be counterable without that, I think. But the whip and the heroic combat are the things that I think make him uniquely, horrifically dangerous. To the point where probably there's definitely matchups where you just can't, if you come up against the Balrog, you go like, ah,
Yeah.
ah, okay,
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of lists where your best heroes are fight 6, which means that they
5.
only ever get well, yeah, or 5. But I mean, the group of heroes that are fight 7 or above is a really small group of heroes.
Yes, yeah.
And because he's the only natural fight 10, it means even like if you're fighting Sauron, who's fight 9, Sauron's got to spend might
Yep. Or
just to
Gilgalad.
equal this guy. Well, Gilgalad can't strike anymore.
Of course. Yeah. 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 I suppose the opposite though, with no might and no heroic strike, the hard counters are basically the One Ring
Yep.
because he drops to fight 5 and you can't do anything about it. Or something like Riders Vehement. I was talking about this when we were going up to the event. It provides a -1 to the dual roll once a game.
Or Gandalf's Cup.
Or
There's a
Gandalf's Cup.
firework that's
Yep.
-1 to the dual roll.
Hit him with that. As long as you roll a 6, you literally cannot lose. A fight 1 Hobbit militia could beat the Balrog on rolling a natural 6 with either of those. Whereas normally it's mightable up again. So
Yeah, but I
then you
mean,
can't guarantee it against heroes.
the fight 1 militia, yeah, that's great. Apart from the next sort of thing to note is at defense 9,
Yes.
it means basically no one will get him on better than a 4 up to wound. I mean, unless there's something that's two-handing, strength 5, so Helm with heroic strength
Yep.
would get to the 3 up.
Yep. I think
Azog
Gimli to 8 would be 5s down to 3s if he two-handed and had Legolas's bonus.
and had Legolas bonus.
And heroic strength.
Azog and Aragorn with Andoril
Would win him on 3s. Yep.
would win him on 3s.
Yeah,
But
there's
I
probably an
mean,
edge case somewhere else we're not thinking of, but you still have to then win the fight.
Yep.
Although again, he has 4 attacks, which is great. You need it, but the amount of times I've played the Balrog with Rohan, and I think I tagged him with
you roll like 3 3s and a 2 or something,
I
like
tagged him with a Royal Guard because they're fearless, and I was like, I just need to tie him up, knowing that he would heroic combat. Tagged him with 1 Royal Guard whilst I ran the rest of my force away, and I think the Royal Guard rolled a 5 or a 6, and the Balrog rolled like a 3 or 4 high. And it's like, oh,
yeah, I mean,
okay.
I think that there's definitely a downside that's worth pointing out is that like he can just whiff.
Yep. Yeah.
But that's made up for the fact that even if he does whiff, he's probably not going to be in trouble.
You'd hope not.
Unless you really outplayed and you kind of have like Boromir, Aragorn, and Gimli all wailing on him at the same time, all with might to spend. But yeah, and I mean the other thing is because he's defense 9, I think even crossbows wound him on 6s by 4s.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
So and if you've got the shadow special rule, you can kind of not be that bothered about shooting.
I suppose one we haven't we kind of touched on earlier, but not talked about is magic. He does have 10 will.
Yep, and resistant
magic, which is awesome. But then we were saying like loads of casting heroes have transfix, even like shamans have transfix. If I was playing a something with an orc shaman, say, really cheap as chips, and came up against the Balrog, and I threw a bunch of stuff into the Balrog, or it was a critical turn where he needed to move, and I just went, you know what, heroic channel transfix on the Balrog for 1 might and 1 point of will. I count as having rolled a 6. How many? You get 1 for resistant. How many dice would you throw at a natural 6 transfix to resist? Because you can roll like 2. Normally, I would roll like my resist and maybe 2 more for 3.
Yeah,
and then you've still got 8.
I mean, I think
But
it's got to be something that you judge in the time, right?
Yeah.
Because the advantage of the Balrog is you'd be like, oh no, he's transfixed. Do you have anything that can actually do anything to him whilst he's transfixed?
No, but like,
and if you've heroic channeled, you can only do that once if you're a generic shaman.
But say Lothlorien, then your Lothlorien list that has
Like-
Celeborn and Galadriel both casting on 3 up, who just go like every
Oh
turn
yeah,
2
I mean,
transfixes.
and then you're basically going to spend as little as possible. Because I think if you burn through your will quickly, you're just those transfixes will keep coming.
It's a really tough one because maybe you chance it again. Yeah, it depends on whether or not if you're playing Men of the West and it has Gandalf in it, but also Gwaihir and also Aragorn with Anduril, and Gandalf gets off a transfix on a 6, and Aragorn and Gwaihir are both in charge range or have already charged. Do you go, nah, I'll just let it go through? Or do you go like, I really need to kill Aragorn or not be beaten? I'll throw 6 dice at it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to say. I mean, because having 10 will, even if you, I mean, I think it'd be quite unlikely for 5 successful transfixes to go through, but you
Mm,
could spend three resist dice on each one,
true.
and you might get a 6, which means that you might get some of that will back.
That's true.
So it would be down to whether you need him to be alive, you need him to do work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
you know, so
It's a difficult one. It's really interesting though. It's kind of it's making the kind of mechanic-y part of
yeah.
my brain at the
I
back
mean,
tick with
the thing
interest.
is with this list, if you've taken the Balrog, 350 points of your list is this one guy, and he needs to do a lot of work. So if he's transfixed for 2 turns,
Yeah.
that might be problematic. Then he's not doing anything.
But then if he's
Um,
transfixed for 2 turns and all the enemy's attention is focused on trying to wound him, and your goblins are actually just like spreading out and taking the rest of the board,
yeah,
and they've
that's
captured all
great.
the objectives,
Yeah, yeah.
cool.
He's a
He's
distraction
doing
card
his
effect.
he's doing his job.
And also
Eh,
he might get untransfixed for a turn, and then he can kill 8 models
yeah,
pretty conclusively.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
but
Interesting. Well,
yeah,
that's a long time on the Balrog, but it's basically the centerpiece of the whole list. We could probably do a whole show about the Balrog. But in short, it's not a win-all, but quite spiky. You have one of the best stat lines in the game, 4 attacks, 3 heroic combats, and a lasso mechanic, but you have no might, no ability to get any kind of banner reroll,
yeah.
and
Oh,
your
apart
sword.
from if you have a goblin in your combat.
Yes, I mean that's the other point. Is actually I would always hope that you're not fighting on your own. You'll always have enough goblins around. Obviously, you can't be supported, but you'd have enough goblins around to just
Yeah, you should always try to.
yeah. The other way, also, I'm always wondering whether or not basically he should be kind of like I'll get onto with the Watcher. He should just be behind your line of goblins, whipping people, bringing them over, and then you just stand him next to the thing on his own, like in the arena, and he's just like, "Cool, I'll kill you." And then he goes like next
Yeah,
turn,
yeah.
like, "All right, I'll bring you over. Whoop, I'll kill
You're
you."
doing the Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. Get over here.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's the
Exactly.
way. I'm not. I haven't played him before in game. I've played against him, but who knows? I think that's probably more than enough. We could do a whole show on the Balrog, but
Yeah.
thematically he is awesome. It's probably one of the key parts of the Fellowship book and movie. And I think if you're playing Depths of Moria, you probably want to take the Balrog, but don't have to, which is
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Who is our next hero?
Our next hero is the king of Get Over Here, which is the Watcher in the Water.
From a hero of legend to an independent hero.
Yeah, I've put these two together just because logically they're kind of similar.
Yeah,
They
that makes
sort of do
sense.
the same thing in the list. The Watcher in the Water though is, I mean, I love the Watcher. I think
We
he's great.
we love the Watcher.
Um,
The reason we've played a lot of Moria is a few years ago we went to doubles and we took a Watcher themed Moria list without the Balrog, and he's just so much fun. Like the shenanigans again, like
maybe not for your opponent, but
no, like kind of like Greenmay, he kind of basically breaks the game mechanics in and does like funky stuff that no one else can do. So take us into why he is a bit crazy.
yeah. So yeah, again, the Watcher is obviously a monster.
Cool,
So there is
always good.
that. He has an amazing move value of 4 because well, the Games Workshop model's got weird leg things, but you know, clearly he's kind of dragging himself around.
Yep.
He's got a all right fight value of 6.
Average for a monster, very good for like everything
Yeah,
else,
yeah,
but
like it's not bad. He has a shoot value of a 3 up, which is pretty crucial. He has strength 6, defense 6, a hilarious attack 6, which I think is the most attacks of any model in the game.
quite possibly actually, yeah.
He has 6 wounds. Again, like the Balrog, it's a lot of wounds. 6 is pretty
Yep.
impressive. He's got a pretty bad courage of 6 up. for a 200-point model.
Yep.
Intelligence 7 up. He's not very bright.
He's average.
Yeah, unlike the Watcher, he does have a single point of might.
One whole might.
Yeah, I don't know what you spend it on. It's very hard to choose.
Yeah.
He has 5 will and he has Fate 1.
Mm.
He has tentacles plural, which means that he can never run out of them, I guess.
Yeah. Again, another one. Can he ever be disarmed? Can he be?
No, I don't think he can because
tentacled?
it's plural.
Yeah, true.
He just can't. He has dominance 6, which is cool.
One for
He
each
has
tentacle.
Harbinger of Evil 12 inches.
Nice.
Fine. He's a large target like the Watcher.
Sure.
He is resistant to magic like the Watcher, and he
Sure.
causes terror. No, sorry, like the Balrog, I mean, and he causes terror.
Sure. Yeah. Always nice.
All of this is not bad, but kind of generic for a monster profile.
If he was,
I mean,
he's basically 2 cave trolls, because they're fight 6, strength 6, defense 6, but 3 wounds, 3 attacks each. And for more points, you're like, that's quite a lot of points for something. He has might and will and fate and stuff, but quite a lot of points for something. But takes into special rules, which are the unique part.
Yeah, he's got I think five special rules. So he has the many tentacles rule, which means that if he's reduced to 3 or fewer wounds, his attacks are reduced to 3. Presumably this is as you're chopping away the tentacles. He has the rule, which is a particular bugbear of mine in terms of tournaments where they need to have more terrain on the board, because he is not slowed by water features. In fact, his move goes up to 8 inches in water, and he always counts as rolling a 6 on the swim chart, and he gains monstrous charge, so he can have 7 attacks on the chart.
Doubling to 14 if you then win the combat and knock someone prone.
Exactly, or it gets cavalry. It's just horrible.
Yeah.
But so we get onto the kind of the fun parts of the Watcher. So the next rule is from the deep. He's an independent hero, but he can never be in another hero's warband, and he is not deployed normally. In fact, you can't deploy him normally.
Didn't they FAQ this for scenarios where something happens that he does?
I mean, yeah, there may be some edge cases where you probably might have to, but generally speaking, instead, once priority is determined, so after the priority roll and anything to do with the priority roll, you can choose to roll for the Watcher, and on a 3-up, he comes. Once you choose to roll, you have to keep rolling until he turns up, even if suddenly you don't want to for some reason. But then when he comes, you deploy him by choosing a spot on the battlefield anywhere, and you just put him down as long as there's space for the base.
Super
that's
good.
it. That's all you need. I think they've changed it in the past. He knocked stuff aside, but
it was horrible. We played a whole 2-day tournament where we never used the knock aside, or we might have done it with like one model, but theoretically you could put it right in the middle of the battle line and knock everyone away, but the sequencing for it was really complicated.
Yeah, and just trying to work out the mechanics of it. And they've increased the size of the Watcher's base in this edition. So it's the same length as it was, but it's also now equal.
It's just a circle rather than an oval.
It used to be an oval.
Really cool though, because you can just pop them up. Again, we've used them a fair bit. The temptation is always to like make 2 battle lines and then pop them behind your opponent's battle line, so you kind of sandwich them. We've always basically just popped him behind our battle line for reasons that we'll get onto right now.
Yeah, I mean, basically the rule, most of the time it's just useful because he has a 4-inch move and he's really slow. So it just means that you can kind of, assuming you get the roll, you can put him where you want him, and then he won't move around that much.
You set your battle lines, you know where the fight is, you know where the person you want to maybe use them to try and kill is, and then you can bring him in right next to it rather than having to drag him 4 inches from the back of the board.
Yeah. So then on the turn that he turns up, that's his basically he's there. You can't charge. He can still move if you want to, I'm pretty sure. Need to double check that actually. He used to be able to. The second rule means that the fact that he can't charge is not a problem because he has the grasping tentacles special rule.
Yeah, this is where it gets Funky.
Yeah. So in the shooting phase, the Watcher gets D6, 6 inches, strength 3 bow shots. That doesn't sound so great, but they never require in the way rolls, and you can always shoot, irregardless of whether you've moved, or you're in combat, or you're shooting into combat, and there is no -1 penalty for moving and shooting.
This is where his 3 upshoot value is pretty key.
Yeah. If you hit and don't kill your target, just like the Balrog's Lash, you pick up the model and you put them wherever you want in base contact with the Watcher. They have specified in this edition. In the past edition, it was slightly confusing about cavalry, but the whole horse and rider comes with you.
Just
Presumably,
the
the
whole
horse
model.
is pretty freaked out by this experience. If you can't place them now, you can't move them, but any placed model in base contact counts as being engaged in combat with the Watcher.
Yeah, this is the wild part, and I think if you missed it, the key part, it's another drag you into combat, like the Balrog, super cool. It's D6 strength, 3 shots. Yeah, fine. The super key part is you never, ever, ever take in the ways, including your own combat. So if you
Yeah.
roll your D6, you get 4 shots. You miss your first one, your second one hits, doesn't wound your target. You drag them into combat. Those other 2 shots, you can still shoot something else or the person you're in combat with twice more. So
Yeah.
he is the ultimate assassin
It's like
in
Legolas on steroids.
in game terms, but also the ultimate control piece because he's got a giant base and 6-inch range around that base. He can just he never suffers -1, so on a 3 up, you just drag someone in. It's slightly unreliable because it's a D6 followed by a hit roll. So the amount of times where you're like, I really need to drag the enemy general in,
Mm.
I roll 1 shot on my D6 and I miss. You were saying earlier, I don't know what the might point's for. I think basically half the time it's for heroic move to get him out of trouble. Half the time it's for I desperately need to drag that character into combat and I've rolled a 2 to hit.
Yeah, it's just you only have one of it. So,
Yeah, it's
you know,
super.
you might
Yeah,
use it for a heroic move, and then you're like, I really needed it for the shoot.
yeah. One
But
benefit is he's not survival instinct like a dragon. So
no.
you're not taking courage checks for every wound you take, and he still has 5 will, so and is resistant. So like the Balrog, he's like half as
Yeah,
resistant as the
he's
Balrog.
hard to stop with magic. As we, if you watch our battle report with Lothlorien, which features the Watcher, it's pretty hard to beat him. He finally has a special brutal power attack, which is dragged to the depths. Annoyingly, there needs to be a water feature for this to even work.
Yeah, at least it's
If
now within 6, not in a water feature.
Yeah, he
But
used to have to be in the water feature, which was like,
this is horrible. Like I'm
um,
sure I've seen tournament boards where there's like a pond in the very corner, and you'd
tiny
be
little
like,
pond, and you
I'll
just be
put
like,
the Watcher in it, and be like, come near me, come on, please, we'll fight over here, and your opponent just goes like, nope, nope.
yeah. But essentially, for this, he replaces all of his attacks with a single roll. On a 2-up, the model suffers a wound, and if that wound is not prevented, the model is just slain, removed. And as part of that, the Watcher disappears, and he presumably sinks down into the depths, and then he can effectively deep strike again with his from the deep special rule.
Super cool.
Um,
And in
I
all the
would
games we've both used him, literally never once used the rule.
No, because there's never any water on the table.
There's never any water features, so please, yes, tournament organizers, put a river or a lake on every single board just once. Make that one Moria player very happy.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so the Watcher is a really good, interesting model. He's an incredible control piece. Yeah, you can go after heroes, but actually, it's things like poaching banners,
Yep.
poaching cavalry, pulling like other control pieces, like say Wood Elf Sentinels, who are really annoying. The Watcher could just be like, "Hey, come over here. I
Well,
want to eat you."
crucially, it's
Um,
shoot phase as well. So normally your sort of movement counter move shenanigans is in the move phase or the combat phase with heroic combats, but it's you both do all your moves, heroic and normal, and then all the positions ahead of the combat phase, and you
yeah,
go like, that's a really bad fight, or actually I need da da da, or like we've seen, the enemy Azog is fighting one goblin and is in prime target to heroic combat off that goblin into your general, and you just go like yoink. I mean, Azog's a bad example because you probably don't
Yeah,
want
probably
Azog in,
not a great
but
example,
but
but
something
you know,
horrible like who maybe heroes fight 5, who can't strike up. You can just pluck them out of the way, or a banner, like you say. But the ability to do it in the shoot phase is just so powerful. And he's almost half the points of the Watcher, slightly over.
the
Um,
Balrog. Yeah.
the Balrog, sorry, yeah. It's very powerful. He is only defense 6, which is good but not great. And
Yeah, I
as
mean,
soon as he goes down to 3 attacks,
he's kind of squishy. Not really squishy, but like he could die.
yeah,
But with the 6 attacks, it does mean that even though you're not fight 7, you do stand a good chance of just winning combats just because you get a 6.
yeah, that's
Um,
the other really strong part. And he can always, you can bring the good caveat is when you tentacle someone into combat, it's a one-on-one. You can't support. You used to be
yes.
able to, but there's
Yeah,
nothing to say you can't bring someone in. Then next turn, if you don't kill them, recharge them and bring a bunch of goblins in. Or if you heroic combat like a goblin character into the combat with the Watcher, then you do get the supports and other things. But hopefully, you wouldn't need it all the time.
Um, yeah, basically, my main takeaway from the Watcher is please, people, put water on tables. Just sometime it would be glorious for this guy to have a real kind of paddle in a
Yeah,
pool.
and
Um,
it's a 550 point commitment, but actually, if you took the Balrog and the Watcher, that is an insane amount of control on the board. I don't know many lists that could counter both, but the only thing is, it's if you're playing even 800 point game, you might not have
yeah,
enough goblins to then play the rest of the game. So who knows? That is a long time on those two models and profiles, but they're both fairly unique in Middle Earth, but also fairly big linchpins for this list alone. So let's go on to the other heroes, and I think this will be a lot quicker because they're quite simple.
yeah. We
Uh,
get onto the simple guys now.
the
Um,
mighty Moria Goblin Captain.
yeah, this guy is a blue collar worker. You know, the humble goblin Stakov knight.
Yeah,
Chipping away at the coal face of Moria.
yeah.
Um,
Well, in the books, aren't they? They're scared of the Balrog, aren't they?
yeah, I think they have like a sort of totemic
Yeah.
fear slash. Well, in the movie, the goblins run away when the Balrog comes, right? Like,
It's a very cool scene.
it's a cool scene. But yes, so the Moria Goblin Captain. Your Moria goblins in general are the sort of the potatoes of this list.
Yeah.
Where the Balrog is the meat. He is 40 points, which is a shame because they used to be 35. I don't know why they're 5 points more. They
Yeah.
haven't got better for 5 points.
Yeah.
He, like all goblins, he has a movement of 5. He's got a fight value of 3. He's got a 5 up shoot. He's got strength 4, defense 5. And the standard captain's sort of 2 attacks, 2 wounds, 2 might, 1 will, 1 fate, and better than goblin, courage of 7 and intelligence of 7.
Sure.
He comes with armor and a hand weapon. He can no longer take a shield, which is a real bummer.
Yeah, I was going to say you
Um,
couldn't you?
You used to be able to take the shield.
That's
Now the only
strange.
option you can take is the orc bow, which is a terrible choice.
Yeah,
For
with a
5
shoot value
points.
of 5 up. Well, the captain's could have been a shoot value 4 up. I don't think that would have been crazy.
Yeah. But he has heroic march, which
Yep.
is basically worth 40 points alone.
Yep.
And he has cave dweller, like all the goblins have cave dweller. That is the one that gives you +1 to your jump and climb checks, which is a very nice special
Sure.
rule.
Fine.
But yes, essentially, you are taking these guys because, as you've already alluded to, you often hit warband limit.
Yep.
And it gives you heroic march, which on a movement 5 army is good, and
Yep.
as it works on the Balrog,
Oh,
is
yeah.
particularly good.
Makes him 11-inch move.
11-inch move. The only problem is
11.
obviously you have to stay within the March bubble.
True. Yeah, I mean, I would also basically be like, the Balrog has no might, the Watcher has 1 might, these guys have 2. So for 40 points, I just take a bunch of them because I need to be able to do heroic moves.
These guys are your
Counter.
might bank.
Yeah. And they have heroic march, and they're strength 4 actually. That's not bad.
Yeah, and if they're near the Balrog, they're fight for. A mighty fight for.
Whoa. Slow down.
I feel like
Yep.
they could probably have like backstabbers or something. It's probably not that wild.
Yeah, defense 5. It doesn't feel crazy if you could, like, if they were 40 points and it was still 5 points for a shield, but for 45 points they were defense 6. Doesn't seem mad.
Yeah, I don't think that would be mad. But
Hey.
yeah, I mean, they're a simple little unit. They do exactly what you need them to do, which is to be a might bag.
Nice. That's Moria Goblin Captain. I don't think we need to do this very quick. On to our first Armies of Middle-earth edition.
No. Oh, yes, sorry. Yes, this is armies.
Armies.
There are also legacies. But yeah, in the armies is the Moria Goblin Shaman. There's also in armies a series, a named shaman, and in legacies there's another named shaman. But in the depths, you can only take these generic guys.
Yeah, it's restricted Moria, basically.
Yeah, the Moria Goblin Shaman is 45 points. He has the sort of the shaman stat line, which is a weird mix between the captain and a warrior. So the difference is he has fight 3 but only strength 3, and he's got 1 attack. And defense 4 for some reason. Which is a puzzle to me because they're almost always, if they've got armor, they should be defense 5.
Yeah.
He's got 1 might like the Orc Shaman or the other sort of generic casters. He's got the 3 will and he's got the 1 fate. He comes with armor, a spear, a hand weapon. The spear is kind of actually quite nice just because it means he can poke things without getting too involved.
Yeah, sure.
And as a shaman, he has heroic channeling.
Sure.
Which is really nice purely just because you can get that transfix to go off.
So their spells are...
He has Fury on Moria Goblins on a 3-up, which is nice.
Cool. Yep.
But in this list is maybe not so necessary because the Balrog is giving you a 6-inch fearless bubble.
That's what I was just thinking. Yeah, it's a 12-inch radius. Is that the right word?
Yeah, it's quite a big
fearless bubble.
And he's got a biggish base.
Yeah, so not as useful. Non-Balrog Moria list, very useful. Turn 1, heroic channel Fury, leave him in the list. Go. But yeah, fair.
He has Instill Fear on a 4-up, which again, probably not that useful. But he has a 12-inch transfix, which is, I think, is the reason you might take this guy.
Yeah, I think he'd be pretty far down my list of choices of who I'd take. But if I'm playing a really large game or I've run out of models that I own and I have a shaman, yeah, sure. Like maybe a key turn, heroic channel a transfix and just go like, boop, it's a 6 on a key like enemy combat, something like Theoden or someone that doesn't have that much will.
Well, even kind of you take him preemptively because if you've got the priority, you can cast a transfix on Gandalf the White. And then Gandalf's got to kind of spend some will to stop that from happening.
Fellowship Boromir is a very good target.
And he's also, because he's got a spear and he's fight free, he can support your goblin line and get them to fight free. Or fight 4 if the Balrog is there.
Yeah, I guess he's a fight 4 spear support with a point of might behind him as you really need to win a fight. But yeah, he's pretty far down my list of who I would take in this list. Probably because of someone we're going to see in a couple of slots. But the next hero is...
From the Legacies.
From the Legacies, our first Legacies choice.
This is the mighty Moria Blackshield Captain. So, if anyone's unfamiliar, the Blackshields are marginally better goblins.
When did they add them?
With the Shadow and Flame sourcebook, I think they came in.
But so they're an invention, and
they're an invention.
Beefier, more armored goblins.
Theoretically, they're meant to be beefier, but there's actually nothing different about them apart from the fact that they have heavy armor.
Sure.
But The Moria Blackshield Captain, I think, is actually really good.
Mm.
He's the normal Black Shields are a letdown. This guy is 5 points more than a normal captain, but he comes with a two-handed weapon, which is really nice.
On strength
Um,
4.
on strength 4, and he has heavy armor, so he's also D6.
Yeah.
So for 5 points, his stat line is almost identical, apart from he also has courage 6, which is cool.
Yeah.
And he still has the heroic march.
Mm.
And he's got hatred dwarf, which, I mean, hatred is one of those rules which I just find really annoying because
I
it's
don't
almost
like it.
always pointless until it comes up. And then it comes up and you're like, oh, it's great, I've got hatred. And then you roll like a 3 to
Yeah.
wound.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're like, well, that didn't help. Oh,
Yeah.
or you roll 6s to wound, and you're like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
bugger. But for 45 points, the Moria Blackshield Captain, I actually think is really good.
Yeah. Spoiler, I would agree, and I would take the captain quite happily and not the warriors at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's also a pretty cool model. He's quite distinctive. Sadly, legacies. So if you own him and you're going to a non-legacies allowing list, maybe just use him as a regular
A normal
captain
captain. Yep.
because he looks cool. But yeah, why not? On to the next hero, who I would take over a regular goblin shaman.
This is the last hero, and he is the Blackshield Shaman.
Funny little model.
Yeah, it's a great model. It's very weird as well because, like, where the Blackshield Captain is kind of like theoretically better in terms of like prowess than
Yep.
the normal captain, the Blackshield Shaman has fight 2. Um,
I mean, look at him. He's a little frail old
he's a
buddy.
frail old goblin man.
He's got a comb over and a limp.
Yeah, so this guy, he doesn't have the spear either, so he just has armor and the hand weapon.
Sure.
He still has the sort of the shaman stat line. He's got the 1 might, the 3 will, the 1 fate. So he also has the heroic channeling. He has hatred dwarf, which I guess is technically there.
Yep. It's there.
And it goes without, we didn't specify, but all the goblins have cave dweller. I think we already said that,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
know, it's kind of there, it's baked in.
It's nice.
But this guy is quite unique because he has collapse rocks with a 6-inch range on a 4-up cast, which is pretty cool.
Very cool.
And I think he's the only model in the game that has tremor.
I think so. So, as a sneak peek for our lovely Patreon people, exclusive monthly blog series, I wrote an article of top 10 50 point and under heroes, and I put him on our list because, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the only model, unless there's something in the Hobbit era that I'm forgetting, that has tremor, and it's basically a budget Wrath of Brunnen
Yes.
that goes in a straight line. It's slightly dodgy in how you have to work it out because you have to draw an imaginary line, which I always hate doing, and then could lead to arguments. But everyone just, I think they automatically get knocked prone and then take a strength 4 hit. So the hit is actually
The hit is better than Wrath of Brunnen.
yeah,
because
but
that's
it's also
too.
almost secondary. It's the knocking prone, and you can knock your own people prone. But what you could do is a turn when you're about to engage, run him forward first, cast it. I would almost save my might point, heroic channel it, throw it at a bunch of warriors, knock a whole battle line prone, and then just charge into them.
Yeah, I mean, because Wrath of Brunnen is a very small 3-inch bubble. I
Yep.
think the line is D3 plus 3 inches,
Ah,
so it can be 6 inches.
very powerful.
But yeah, it does target everybody, friend or foe.
Yeah, but that's very goblin.
Yes. It doesn't work on models with fly, which is important to remember because they can fly.
That's
And
true.
this is on the ground. And also, I kind of feel like Wrath of Brunnen shouldn't work on models that can
Yeah,
fly.
you should like wet their feet. But yeah, I really like the model. And Tremor's weirdly powerful in the right circumstances. I mean, like if they don't resist it, you could knock a keeper off a horse. Cavalry armies, it's terrifying.
Yep.
Because
Yeah, everyone's not
cavalry,
flying.
you could just take out a whole swathe of cavalry. And no, if you're only targeting warriors, no chance to resist it. I think last edition he had Shatter and was one of the few models in the game that had Shatter, which now doesn't exist. And I think we took him, or did we take a regular Shaman when we went
We
to
took
the
the regular
doubles?
one because we needed the Fury.
The Fury, that was it. And people got panicked because I think the Shatter spell the ability to just go like, "Oh, you have Angel? No, and you're now unarmed. Have fun," was just horrible. It now doesn't exist in the game, which is probably good, but they still have Tremor. And I think the thing I wrote was, Elrond and Arwen both have Wrath of Brunnen. You could take 3 of these guys for the price of Elrond. I don't think you'd want to, but if you're playing like
Good.
you could, if you're playing a low points Depths of Moria list, like 300-400 points event, you could not take the Balrog. You could take a bunch of captains and take one of these guys, and then probably knock a good percentage of your opponent's battle line prone.
Yeah, and I mean, because the thing is you can, as you say, you channel once,
Yep.
but then you still have 2 will potentially to just take a chance on the 5-up cast.
Yep. Or
Um,
collapse rocks, which he also
or
has on
collapse
front,
rocks.
just for fun.
But yeah, I mean, he's fun.
He's
I think
funny.
he could work, and
Legacy.
the possibility of knocking someone prone and then that person getting charged by the Balrog,
Yeah.
um, that could be pretty horrid.
Really horrible. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, that is all of our heroes. Quite a lot from armies and legacies, because it's not. Is it just the Balrog, the Watcher, and a Goblin Captain? If you don't have armies or legacies.
Before armies came out, the list was like 5 units: the Balrog, the
Yeah.
Watcher, the Goblin Captain, the normal Goblin, and the Troll.
Yeah, that was it, wasn't it? Yeah. So we
Um,
have a few more, but not loads more, and 2 of them are legacies choices. So obviously
yeah,
your
so
mileage might vary.
no more heroes. We're on
No more
to
heroes.
warriors.
Warriors,
Oh,
and the key one, the Moria Goblin Warrior. You will almost certainly, unless you're doing something strange, be having a lot of these in your list.
yeah.
How do we feel about goblins, Jules?
Oh, I love goblins. They're great. Um,
I would agree.
this image I found is a Weta sculpture, I believe, of a nice looking Moria goblin. Um, in the game, they are 4 points, but they're really 5 points because you have to take an upgrade on these guys.
Yep.
They have the excellent stat line of a move of 5, a fight value of 2, a shoot value of 5 up, a strength of
Standard.
3, which is actually decent.
Yep. Same as a human.
Well, and also, like, if you compare these guys to hobbits, who they're sort of the same price, I would actually rather have the worse fight but the better strength.
Oh, for sure. Strength 2 on your melee is just horrible.
Yeah. Their base defense 4, 1 attack, 1 wound, courage 8, and intelligence 8.
Sure. Yeah, they're basically like orcs. They're cheaper orcs because they are only fight 2. They kind of got not done in by, but I think these were some of the biggest casualties of the new Wargear rules for this edition,
Yes.
where you can only have what's modeled. So obviously there's the very, very original box of Moria Goblins from the very first launch of the game in 2001. Is literally in the first starter set, and they can have a spear with no shield, a shield with a sword, or a bow with nothing else. And previously you could mix and match, and a very popular choice was to have give them a bow and a spear.
Yep.
So you put them behind the people with shields, you shoot until your line's engaged, and then you can spear support. Now
Or
you
give the spear people a shield because
Yep.
they were cheap.
Yeah, why not? And then put the bows behind for just bodies or something, or take no bows. So yeah, sadly you can't do that anymore. But I still think they are absolutely worth taking in large numbers, because as you say, the ability to just fight 2 doesn't matter if you're rolling more dice than your opponent. It does
Yeah.
matter, obviously. That's flippant to say, but if you're fighting 1-on-1s, yeah, you're probably going to lose. But if you can start getting 2-on-1s, especially with spear supports, maybe even 3-on-1s, after you start, maybe winning, you're still strength 3. You're the same strength as an orc. You're the same strength as a Gondorian warrior. You're the same strength as Rohirrim. You're the same strength as a Morannon. You're probably going to wounding. Defense 5's a pretty common defense value in the game.
Probably the
So
average, I'd
anything
say.
under defense 6, you're going to be winning on a 5. And if you're rolling 2 to 3 dice to wound because you've managed to stack up more goblins, there's a real good chance you can actually start doing some work. So they are surprisingly killy. And this is where we see why the army rule was nerfed, because the ability to have 2 or 3 dice against your opponent's 1, re-rolling, and then throwing that many wounds against them was really powerful. It made them very, very strong.
Well, and I think the thing is because they're 5 points, you know, disregarding orcs and sort of basic Rohan, a lot of the sort of better infantry in the game, like, tin cans or armored elves, are close to, if not 10 points.
Yeah.
Which means that you can get 2 goblins for the price of 1 elf.
Yeah.
And
And
a
even
single goblin can still kill 1 elf.
Oh, for sure.
Um,
And usually on 5s, maybe on 6s if they're armored with a shield, but like sometimes on 5s, sometimes if you're against pajama elves, 4s.
yeah.
And even the slightly less premium, a Rohan warrior is 6 or 7 points with an upgrade, more if they have a throwing spear. So even then, you're not getting 1 for 1. You're still spending more. You're getting 1 and a bit goblins for every warrior, and it can really add up. So yeah, we're big proponents of just a big old wall of goblins because 1, it's quite effective. 2, it is quite similar to the Balrog. Quite it's not very punishing if you're a beginner or you're
Yeah.
tired and making mistakes, because you've got so many of them. Individually, they are a bit crap, but that doesn't matter. You have a lot of them, and they are backed up by some insanely powerful and fun toys.
They're the epitome of the you miss every shot you don't take.
Yeah,
Speaking of
absolutely.
which, their archery is truly terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same.
Like,
No, is it worse than orc shooting? Because
no, it's the same.
they
They've got
have
the
an
orc
orc bow.
bow.
Yeah, strength
Um,
2, range 18.
yeah,
Yeah,
and the
I
shoot
think
5 up.
the only benefit is they have cave dwellers, which means
Yep.
missions with night fighting, they suddenly become okay. They're still hitting on 5s, but they can shoot at full range 18 and they get +1 to wound. Which is where the Assault on Lothlorien is quite popular from memory, because it forces night fighting, and
Yeah,
you can take a lot of Moria goblins.
the legacies list.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think really point for point, they might be one of the most kind of efficient warrior profiles in the game.
I think so, because they can still get to defense 5, often very, very cheap profiles, or the direct equivalent would be Goblin Town, who are
Yeah.
also 4 or 5 points.
They're
They
4 points, but you can't. You can have the optional upgrade of the 2-hander, right?
Yeah, that's it. You can leave them at 4 points, so they can be a point cheaper. They are still fight 2, I believe, still strength 3, but they are defense 3.
Yeah, they're so much worse.
And they get chittering hordes, so they always get spear supports. They effectively get an inbuilt spear, but defense 3 is just so rough. Whereas the real key I find for goblins is, even if the shielded ones, even Urukai strength 4 are killing on 5s. So a lot of the time, you'll lose the combat, you'll back away, but they won't roll that 5 to kill you, and then you're like, cool, next time we go again. Strength 3, even the unarmed, unshielded ones, it's still 5s. Uruks are only just killing you on 4s. They can melt. Defense 4 and 5 is not a lot, but it's a lot. There's I can't quite find the phrase for it, but defense 4 and 5 is so much better than defense 3.
Yeah.
And 5 is so much better than 4. So yeah, they're great. We can again wax lyrical for a long time about Moria goblins, but I think we can carry on charging through the warrior profiles. They get Boromir in this list.
Because it's the bit where he says they have a cave troll.
Oh, they get a cave troll, not Boromir.
They get
I
a cave
see.
troll.
Yeah, haha, that's a funny joke.
It's a hilarious joke.
So they do indeed get a cave troll. Take us through what a cave troll does.
Yeah, so the cave troll is 75 points, which is quite expensive. He's a move 6 monster with fight 6, a shoot value of 4 up, which actually is important. Strength 6, defense 6, 3 attacks, 3 wounds, courage 6, and intelligence 9 up. They're not quite 10 up. They are equipped with a troll chain, and they can take the troll spear or the hand and a half hammer. They have dominant 3, they cause terror, and they have throw stones 12 inches, strength 8.
It's not bad. Hence the 4 up not being bad, because you can actually do some damage with it.
Yes. And because it's the troll chain is a throwing weapon,
Mm.
means that they can charge in and they can do the chain, and it's a strength 5 throwing weapon.
Yeah, sure. That's nice.
I misspoke though. They must take either the spear or the hand and a
Okay.
half hammer, because otherwise
Right.
they wouldn't have a melee weapon.
Yeah, makes sense. So they're 80 points basically.
They're 80 points. The hand and a half hammer is nice actually, because a troll with two-hander is great. It is a shame that previously these guys had burly.
I was just about to say I thought they had Burley previously, which it doesn't feel wild them having. And
No,
it seems a
and
shame that they lost it.
they're the worst. I think they are the worst sort of full troll as opposed to the legacy half troll.
They are, I believe, but they're also the cheapest.
Yeah, but not. I mean, they're 80 points, so they're not exactly cheap.
Yeah. Oh no, I tell a lie. A hill troll is 75 points with no upgrades, so they
Yeah,
are
so I think
5 points more expensive than a hill troll. The same stats. A hill troll is 1 worse courage, but has an inbuilt banner against infantry.
but
But
I think
only
they're
a hand
still
weapon.
good.
Yeah.
They're still good. The chain can do work. The troll spear that they can take, amusingly, so a wound roll of a natural 6 does double wounds.
Sure.
Sure.
Multiple on a 6.
But I think the hammer is kind of what you take most of the time.
I think in this list you've got enough other stuff that does big monster things. I mean, a strength 6 with +1 to wound is cool. And again, you probably have enough goblins that it won't be fighting a one-on-one, so the -1 on the dual roll with the two-hander is not the end of the world. You probably take him, you probably take the hammer, and you probably just two-hand all the time because you can mess up.
I mean, honestly,
Heroes.
I really love cave trolls. In the kind of the look is so good when it turns up in the movie.
Yeah,
It's such a great moment. But really, their points and kind of the other options in this list and in the normal Moria list,
yeah.
the other Moria list, it makes it really hard to take a troll.
They're one of the first things that gets cut. Thematically, it's super cool, and I actually love the sculpt of the one with the spear going like over its shoulder. Super cool, but I would take the two-handed weapon, or the hand and a half, sorry, and I probably wouldn't take them most of the time. Maybe if you're doing a very low points game again, you take this guy as your big hitter. So you could still take like 30 or 40 goblins and then 1 cave troll at like 400 points or something.
Yeah, and he is a challenge for other heroes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he's a troll.
Yeah.
He's not the best troll.
Slightly left behind by the fight balance, fight value rebalance,
Yes,
because he was 6 and has stayed 6, whereas things like Aragorn and Boromir have gone up to 7 native. So a lot of and then people like Aemma have gone up to 6. So a lot of like mainline combat heroes won't even sort of break a sweat against him.
Yeah, and also, I mean, just his intelligence 9, so hurl, which normally on monsters is amazing, it's a bit tricksy on this guy.
Yeah, not really worth it. But super cool. I played against a Balrog with 3 cave trolls list at Scouring last year, and it absolutely trounced me. But that's because I was playing the 3 trolls, and it was the Balrog that did the trouncing, not the cave trolls. But it's cool to see.
Basically. So those are our main original Lord of the Rings armies units. We then have one addition that comes in from the armies of Middle-earth. There is the sneaky little Moria Goblin Prowler.
I love the models for these guys. They're great.
Oh, they're so cute. Like they're just having a little party.
Little bandana guys.
Yeah, they have strong Night Goblin fanatic vibe, I kind of think.
And again, the era of like their metal, the era they were sculpted in is just gorgeous. I love all the miniatures from that sort of era. So yeah, big fan before we even get to the stat line. But take us through the stat lines.
Yeah, so these guys are surprisingly expensive at 7 points each.
This is the thing where you go, when you have 5-point base troops that aren't bad, you start going like, whoa, 7 points. 7
7
points
points.
for what
7
for a
points.
warrior? 70,
Um,
80 points for a monster. Oh, that's very expensive. It's very funny.
um, but yeah, so like all goblins, they're movement 5. However, these ones have fight value 3,
Mm,
which means that if there's a Balrog there, they're fight 4, which is actually pretty good.
same as a captain.
Um, Same as the captain. They have a shoot value of 4 up because they have throwing weapons.
One of the most regularly forgotten rules when I
Yes,
play them,
also
but they do.
nice.
Also super nice.
They have the standard strength 3. Sadly, they're only defense 4, but I mean, they clearly don't have a shield. Look at them.
Yeah.
1 attack, 1 wound, courage 8 up, intelligence 7 up.
So they're smarter than a normal goblin
They're slightly smarter than a normal goblin.
because they know how
Um,
to prowl.
the reason you take these guys is that they have a two-handed weapon and the backstabbers special rule.
Yeah.
Um, in the right circumstance, you could be getting +2 to wound, which is very nice.
Yeah. On a
Uh,
strength again, where strength 3 comes in really good rather than strength 2. Um, yeah, and enough with the amount of goblins you hopefully have, it's not as tough to get traps off. Um,
yeah, and also you've got spears to support them.
yeah, so you
Um,
can negate the -1 on the dual roll. I love these guys. Just sprinkle them in a lot. And to be honest, they're only 2 points more than a goblin, and they are if it's a goblin without shield, they're the same defense. They're a fight higher. They have throwing weapons, so a strength 3 shooting attack, and a two-handed weapon that can get +2 to wound
yeah,
for 2 points. Super good. I would take
yeah,
as many of these guys as I have. Sadly, they're sort of metals are relatively expensive, so you usually sort of sprinkle them in, but yeah, really nice.
yeah. I mean, I think the main thing is just at 7 points, they're kind of annoying because everything else that you're usually going to take is like 5 or a whole number of points, which means that if you
Yeah,
take a lot of these, you end up not being out. You lose out essentially.
yeah, that's a good point.
Or you have to go to spend 35 points on them and have what 5 of them.
I'd
And
do that. I just always do that, basically.
could do that. But yeah, I think they're good. Two-handers, they can do work.
They can be great. And again, third time that go watch the battle report on the channel. A couple of them do real good work against the elves.
Yeah. What isn't very good
Oh,
is the Moria Blackshield Warrior, and I really don't know. This is a Legacies unit. They could have fixed them.
yes, they weren't very good last edition. Well, they were terrible last
They were
edition.
terrible last edition, and they're still
And
terrible.
considering both of the Blackshield warriors are so good, it's bizarre that these guys. Oh, they're not terrible. They're just
Blackshield
they're
Heroes, you mean? Sorry.
sorry. Well, even the warriors, they're not terrible. They just far too many points.
Yeah. So these guys are 8 points. If you have got the box, only a few of them come with the hand weapon. They mostly come with spears, which means that they're actually 9 points.
So
Which
almost
basically
double.
means they're really expensive. They do have heavy armor and they do have a shield, so they do have defense 6.
Sure.
Which is nice, but I don't know if it's worth 9 points. Because otherwise, their stat line is almost exactly the same as a Moria Goblin, apart from having Courage 7 up.
And the ever disappointing hatred dwarf.
Yes. Hatred Dwarf. Um,
Yeah.
but so you're paying 4 points for 2 extra defense and 1 extra courage and Hatred Dwarf.
Yeah. It's
Which I
not
just
worth it.
don't think is good.
It's absolutely not worth it. Apart from you would possibly maybe take 2 of them with the last profile we're going to look at because you might want some backup. But yeah, sadly, the model's great. They're all metals as well. They look a lot more distinctive than the plastic, the very aging Moria plastics.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd
they look
really
cool.
love to. Both the heroes are great. Only the heroes can lead these warriors, can't they?
No,
Oh,
they're
okay.
not like a special unit.
Oh, fine, fine. So
I mean,
I'd
not
love
that
to sprinkle them in, but
you don't need more discouragement from taking these guys.
yeah, true.
Um,
Yeah, I'd love to sprinkle them in friendlies. I think we've interchanged them with warriors, haven't we? Just and counted them all as warriors because
Yeah.
it's really nice to have some different sculpts and things on the table. But I want to love them. Sadly, no.
Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult to even consider taking them.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason you would is because of the
Our last
final
profile.
warrior, which is the Blackshield Drummer and Drum
And
Bearer.
again, apologies to people listening along, but some of my absolute favorite models, purely because it is two models, because there's the Moria drum, which strangely we address. There's the Moria drum, which is the one on the ground, and two drummers next to it. You can't take in this list, but for some reason, the legacies have allowed the Blackshield drum to be taken in this list. But the model is a drummer with two drumsticks made from bone going nuts, and
Yeah, they're
then
two femurs.
one poor little goblin who has this drum on his shoulders strapped to his head, and the sculpt and the paint job just makes the goblin look like he is regretting his choices in life. he is very sad and looks like he has a headache because the drum is resting on the back of his head.
Yeah, and
It's
it is.
also stretched dwarf skin, which is kind of gruesome.
Yeah, it's such a great little character for model, but yeah,
So good.
it's a stretched dwarf. Like they've skinned a whole dwarf and then stretched it over like a kettle or a cauldron or something.
Yep.
And on the model, like it's got a belly button.
Yeah, right in the
Um,
middle. It's really gross when you spot it. I think it's classic sort of early to mid 2000s Warhammer where everything was a bit more than PG. It was a bit sort of
a little bit dark.
gruesome
Yeah,
and
yeah.
dark and but still a bit fun. But yeah, I absolutely adore the model, and I would possibly take it. Well, in fact, we have taken it in our battle report and in events. We've taken this drum for a couple of reasons.
Yeah. So compared to the normal Moria drum, these guys are the same price. It is a 75-point unit. It's two warriors, but one choice.
It's crazy expensive.
They have the Black Shield stat line. So they do have the heavy armor and they do have the courage 7, which is cool. They also technically have hatred dwarf. Yay.
Sure.
Uh, but the reason that you take these guys is because of the drum. And compared to the normal drum, this one is like a little movable drum. So the standard goblin drum is a heavy object that the goblins have to kind of pick up and move, but it has a broader range. This one, though, as long as the drummer and the drum bearer are in base contact and the drummer is not engaged in combat, so the drum bearer can be engaged in combat and the drummer's just standing behind him, just smashing the drum. Whilst it's being played, the drum gives +1 courage for all friendly goblins and -1 courage for all enemy models. I think in this list, because it can't stack, you don't get -2, +2 when you call the special drums in the deep.
I think they've nixed most of the stacking for courage things. So Harbinger and that sort of thing specifically say this does not stack with anything similar.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact wording, but yeah, sadly you don't get a sort of -2 because if they did stack along with the Harbinger, if you called the army rule, you had this drum and you had Harbinger from the Balrog and Harbinger from the Watcher, you could get -4 courage in a
Yeah, well,
turn.
Harbinger itself doesn't stack with other Harbinger,
Yes, but
but,
you could get -3
you could
with
get
the Harbinger,
-3,
but I don't
but
think any of them stack, sadly.
no. But in addition to the courage, which is just kind of a nice thing to have, this is an 18-inch banner.
Yeah, super good.
Um
So this basically gives you your old army special rule back.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really good. I mean, 18 inches is a really big banner. It's most of the table, and that is why you're paying 75 points. And if you think about it, I mean, if you pay 25 points for a normal banner,
For 3 inch,
um,
yep,
a 6-inch banners are 50 or 40 points, and
40, 50 points.
they're well worth it because they're marginally better than two banners.
Well, there's
Um,
slightly more surface area than two
yeah.
3-inch banners,
This
so
one is an 18-inch banner, which is what, like,
more than double.
6 banners,
Yeah,
effectively.
yeah,
Um, and also, uniquely amongst sort of random banner effects, it also does count as a banner for victory points purposes, as long as it's being played at the end of the game. Um,
which is super good because it didn't last edition, although there weren't banner VPs for a lot of
There was less
missions,
banner VPs, yeah.
less banner VPs. But now it does. So 75 points is very steep. And before the nerf came along, you would never take it unless you desperately wanted the banner VPs. But now it basically gives you your army bonus back all the time within an 18-inch bubble. But 18-inch bubble is huge, basically board wide.
Yeah. And there's also a second special rule, which is why we were talking about Black Shields, is if either of them are slain, they can pass their war gear specifically to a Black Shield warrior within 1 inches of them. So like in our battle report, we had 2 Black Shield warriors with spears whose primary purpose was to be there to pick up the drum if the drum got shot at.
Yep.
Um,
And if we took the same thing to an event a while ago, and if it's, they stick them behind the battle line. If it looks like there's not going to be any threat to the drum, you can send those spear supports off to go do something useful.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But so then that's worth paying the 8 or 9 points for the
16
Black
points.
Shield. Yeah.
18 points with the spear ones, but yeah.
Yeah. So it's worth paying that for the just to keep the drum alive. But sadly not for their own. But the Blackshield drum, absolutely love. Have we actually even painted up the regular drum?
I started painting it. But yeah, it's just not as good. This one is just so much better, I think.
Just for the drum goblin, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go and Google the Moria Blackshield drummer and just go look at the face of the guy carrying the drum. Zoom in. It just makes me laugh every time. It's the profile picture. We've got a little Facebook group chat for some hobby
Yeah.
stuff, and it's titled "Drum Goblin Regrets His Mistakes," and that's the picture, and it makes me laugh. That is all of our profiles then.
Yeah, indeed. That is
Not
every single
as
one.
many as previous armies, but we've talked about them for a lot longer because the Balrog and the Watch take a long time, basically. And we love goblins. So do we have any thoughts, lists, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so I did put a few lists together. The thing with Depths is it sort of broadly writes itself a lot of the time
Yeah.
if you're building lists. I mean, there are more sort of interesting things you can do, but I mean, as a 500-point list here, we've got, if you take the Balrog, that's 350 points of your 500 points. So you've got 150 points to spend. Because the rest of your heroes and your goblins are really cheap, it's still surprising that at 500 points you have a model like the Balrog, and this list has got 24 models in it, which is
Yeah.
pretty decent.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've just thrown in the goblins here. I realize now I've got multiples with spears, but you could have, a reasonable number of bows potentially. It's goblin shooting, so it's not great, but it might do something. And your main disadvantage is, so there's 24 models. It's a Balrog and a Moria Goblin Captain, and then there is 17, 22 Goblin Warriors in the list.
That's not bad. So from a collecting point of view, the Balrog is 1 box.
Yeah.
And then if you buy 1 box of Moria Goblins, you get 24 in a box?
You get 24, so you could convert a Goblin Captain out of those 24.
One of them is a Goblin Captain. One of the models is a Goblin pointing his sword in the air with a shield. Put him on a rock. He's the captain. Well done. Paint the shield red or something.
Little gold hat.
2 boxes, you've got a 500-point list, which I think they're about 30 quid a box. 32.50 maybe UK prices, GW full prices.
Yeah, and because they've been in a lot of things, like the original release set, they were in there's a Mines of Moria set. There was a recent weird board game with Goblin Warriors in. There's a lot of them floating around on eBay.
Tomb board game, box game.
That's the one I meant.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah.
That just came out.
There's a lot on eBay which you can get for very cheap. Yeah. So I think this is actually a very cheap, achievable. I reckon there's probably a lot of plastic Balrogs around as well, for cheap if you don't mind doing some restoration, or go for the old metal one if you are slightly sadistic.
I mean, it's much nicer.
It's much nicer, but the wings are sort of infamous.
There's a metal one with plastic wings as well.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe that's a better one to go for. But yeah, I think this is eminently achievable and a really fun, actually, I'd almost say a starter list because, once you've learned the Balrog's rules and what Moria Goblin's profile is, there's not a lot for you to have to worry about.
No, and it's quite forgiving.
Yeah, the
Because
only disadvantage is the whole list has 2 might.
yeah. Yeah, and the problem is you might want to spend that might on March or, in Maelstrom of Battle, uh,
Yeah.
like, um
Yeah, that would be a bit rough. But yeah, I think roughly pretty achievable and incredibly, because once you've bought that and painted that, you're laughing. You can just literally throw anything else in the list and it's probably going to stick.
yeah. Yeah, and also actually, I mean, like, so I think we've painted around 60 Moria goblins,
Hmm.
something like that. But often, if you paint up one box worth, 24 of them, that will be the basis of most Moria lists.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a bit like back in our very first second army review, Army of Gothmog. Painting a bunch of Morannons is not a bad thing because they go in so many lists.
yeah, I mean, this is a few less because I guess there's only 3 lists that you can take Moria goblins in, but all 3 lists are actually quite fun.
And you could build the other Moria list, just Moria, that was a lot more of a toolbox list because you can start putting like dragons, a lot more wacky legacy stuff in, some other named characters, and actually you can start building like a really elite list with a bunch of things, or a really like beast focused list, or just a goblin horde list, or a troll focused list. You can go a bit wild with it, which is really fun. So I think it's a really good collector's sort of first.
Mm.
Like you're getting into the hobby, you love the Balrog because it's cool. Do this army, and then see what you like.
Yeah, and I mean, just to kind of illustrate that point, you can add not much more. So at 600 points, if you add in, say, the Shaman, or
Mhm.
maybe you substitute the Shaman for the Blackshield Shaman, and drop a Goblin. Um, but you can go up to 36 models. You still have the Goblin Captain, and you have a bit of magic in the Balrog. But the Balrog's got a full warband of goblins.
Mm.
Uh, and you've got 3 might in this one.
That feels really bad for a 600-point list.
Yeah, I mean, it gets worse because at 800 points, all you need to do is add the Watcher, um,
Yep,
and
and you
you
have
go from you go
4
to
whole might.
37 models and 4
Yeah,
might.
that feels
Uh,
rough.
it's
But
pretty
then
painful.
you have the Balrog and the Watcher.
You have the Balrog and the Watcher.
Mm.
Um, there are sort of a few things you can play around with. Sadly, because the trolls all have throwing weapons, you can't do a monster only list.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's annoying.
but you can kind of play around. As I say, I think the Blackshield Captain is better than the normal Captain if
Mm.
you're playing anywhere where there's legacies. The same goes for the Shaman. Putting Prowlers in also always good. If you can fit them and you can make the points work. I think I looked at there was a 50 model 800 point list with the Balrog, the Blackshield Shaman, a Blackshield Captain, and a normal Captain. With the drum, a couple of Black Shields with spears,
Mm.
6 Prowlers, and then the rest is filled up with Moria Goblin Warriors.
Oh, that's
And I think that's actually kind of a nice list. With a bit more might, 5 might, I think.
nice.
Still not good, but
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't really think about the might deficit, but actually your 2 big heroes have 0 and 1 might.
yeah.
Although I guess you don't factor in the free every time you use a free heroic combat on the Balrog, you're sort of spending a might, as it were. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a bit rough, but I guess you could also spam out. I mean, even this is the more restricted list because you get much better special rules. There's actually loads of different ways you could build it. You could do an 800-point list, which is just the Balrog and as many captains as you can get, because a captain and 12 warriors is just over 100 points, or is 100 points exactly? 'Cause it's
Um
60 points for 12
It's 100
goblins.
points total. So
So
you used to take a captain with a shield and then the full warband, and that was 100 points.
right, yeah,
Now you can't take the shield, but he's 5 points more, so it's a full warband, 100
fine.
points.
Yeah, so you could take the Balrog and 4.5 warbands of captains for
Yeah.
800 points.
Yeah, and they'll be Fight 4.
Yeah.
They're Rangers of the North, but better.
Wow.
Well, they're not Strength 4, but
Yeah. True.
like,
No, they are. Captain's a
um,
strength 4.
are they? Wait.
Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah. You're right. Sorry.
Because they're one better than the Warriors.
Yeah,
So they're
yeah.
Rangers of the North.
They're 2 attacks.
Yep.
They got bad courage, but that doesn't matter. Um,
Why not, eh? But they are more expensive than Rangers of the North.
yeah, but only by 15 points,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
that's assuming the Rangers not taken armor.
And they're
Um,
fearless, basically. Anyway, near the Balrog.
yeah. Um,
I mean, yeah, we love Moria and the goblins basically. We haven't actually painted the Balrog yet, so a lot of our Balrog uh, sort of theorizing is well, no, I've played against Balrog twice or three times at least, and yeah, we own two, I think.
yeah, we got a metal one and the original, the
Yeah,
plastic
we'll
one.
have to see.
Um,
One of them will definitely be appearing at some
pretty
point
soon.
in our Quest of the Ring Bearer series. But with that, I think that's more than enough waffle. Any last thoughts on Depths of Moria? It was obviously, I don't know if we've been far enough away from the FAQ. I suppose it's been a few months that we can definitively say it's a sort of fallen from grace of the meta high tables. We're not interested in it in that way. We just kind of love the thematics of it, but it's definitely still a very strong list.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's gone from being one of the best lists to merely just being a good list.
Yep.
And there are definitely lists which are a lot worse.
For sure.
Um,
I think it's still
and
a list where the Balrog is such a, hard to equate for factor. There'll be some games where you turn up and the army and the mission basically mean you win.
yeah,
Um,
and I think it's pretty unique, just depths in general, in the sense of you spend 350 points on the Balrog, but you still might have over 20 models at quite low points costs.
yeah.
If you think of what your Riders of Airma at 500 points had less than 20 models.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, 18 or 19, I think,
18 or 19 models.
with only two heroes.
Yeah, and the Balrog could wipe the floor with anyone in that list.
Oh, easily,
Like,
easily.
um, and that's the thing is you don't you do sacrifice to take the Balrog, but it's less impactful because you can make up the difference with goblins who are just so cheap.
Yeah, it almost
Um,
feels like it's the list is written so it's a tax. So you get to get your army special rule. Most of the army special rules, it's a tax. But actually, the Balrog's so good, and the list gives you things to counter out the tax, aka very cheap chaff that's actually still not that bad, and a bunch of other toys that it kind of doesn't feel like a tax unless you're playing at like 400 points and you really want to
yeah,
take a Balrog.
yeah, but even then you can still have 10 goblins.
Yeah, I'd be like, I have a Balrog. What do you have at 400 points that can deal with it? And it's still better for this edition than last edition. It moves 8 plus 8 potentially.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can sort of run away from it and lock it up. So yeah, really strong. We'll paint our Balrog pretty soon because we are very close to Moria in our Quest of the Ring Bearer campaign. If you don't know what we're talking about, go check it out on YouTube. If you're listening on to this, we do have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, as it may be. For those of you who are watching along, thank you very much. Please do all the normal rubbishy YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe. Tell us, have you ever killed a Balrog in one turn? Have you ever taken a Balrog down in any amusing ways? Have you ever, what's the lowest points list you've ever seen a Balrog in? And
Someone's done it at 350, right?
yeah, I don't know if there's a 350 point event specifically, but if there is, that would be a very funny temptation. And yeah, just let us know what you think. Jules, what if people want to see more of our faces for some strange reason? What can they do?
Yeah, well, so as you specified, we have a YouTube channel. You can like this video and subscribe. We have a Discord channel, which has got a nice little community of people complaining and talking about why we're not bringing out videos quicker. And we do have a Patreon, which if anyone's interested in helping us fulfill our insane goal of, you know, doing the Ring Bearer campaign with the best terrain that we can manage, come along, help us on our way.
Absolutely. You get both the Discord and the Patreon are free to join. There is a paid version of the Patreon if you want, where you can get your name below, like these lovely people, access to every video early, and now dice after subscribing for a certain amount of time. We'll send you out some dice and some stickers I've got somewhere. That'd be cool. Final thoughts, Jules. Are you going to chase out these pesky fellowship interlopers, these dwarfs?
Yeah, maybe. I just don't know.
It's the Balrog. I just picture him as like coming out with a coffee cup and a dressing gown on, being like, "You done, kids? Get off my lawn.
Yeah,
I need
like
the lawn at Moria."
I've just got to sleep, and then you like dropped a bucket on my head.
Bloody Pippin coming around, crashing, and blah, blah, blah. I think that's I empathise with the Balrog now. And with that, we will see you in the next army overview or other video. I don't know what it will be because we haven't decided yet. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.